We are going to go through your element notes. So we're going to start out with the definition of an element. An element is a pure substance made of many of the same types of atoms. It can't be broken down to make it any more simple. So they're basic. Ha ha. And basically what I mean by a pure substance is any form of matter that is uniform, or that's just a science word for saying the same. So elements are pure because they're made of all the same type of atom. So if you're looking at a gold ring, this is going to represent your ring. It's going to be made of many of these gold atoms. They're all the same. So if you look at your what you think is a gold ring and you see some blue and red atoms in there, that isn't pure gold. Elements can be found as independent by themselves, so it's one, or they can be found as these things we call molecules. Just think about a molecule as like a Siamese twin. They're just these same type of atoms that are bonded or stuck together. Elements cannot be broken down or changed into other elements. So they can combine to form a mixture, which would mean like you have a bunch of gold, which is an element, and then some silver, which is another element, and you just put it in a bag and shake it up. You can still separate out the gold and the silver. So that means it's a mixture. Or they can combine to form a whole new substance, and we'll call that a compound, but we learn about that in the next few days. So to extend on this not being broken down, if you have a gold ring, there is no way you can change it into any other type of element or substance. Even if you melted it to 1 billion degrees, as hot as you could possibly get it, it's melted, it's still going to be gold. There is no way you can change the type of atoms the gold is made out of. And all elements are made of one or more atoms. So every element can be found on this thing called the periodic table, and we're going to learn about that tomorrow in class. Now let's talk about atoms. They're the smallest particle or part of an element. They're way too small to see with your eye. Now you can get this thing called an electron microscope. The electron microscope can zoom in so you can see the different types of atoms. Okay, got another joke for you. Never trust an atom. They make up everything. Well, that is actually true. All matter is made of atoms. That means you're made of atoms. I'm made of atoms. Your table, your chair, your Takis you eat for breakfast every morning, you're all made of atoms. Last part, this is the model of an atom right here. We won't go into too much detail, but this is just a visual so you can see what I'm talking about. So the nucleus is what we call the brain of the atom. That's this middle part right here. And it's made of these things called protons. They're the positive particle. So maybe some of these things in here are protons. And then you've got neutrons. These are also found in the nucleus. They're neutral, which means they have no charge at all. And then the last thing is an electron. These are negative particles, and they're found on the outside, and they kind of orbit around the nucleus. Now, if you look at this model here, it might remind you of something. It reminds me of the solar system. So think of the nucleus as the sun, and these electrons that orbit it as planets.